In a season of litigations, as we have now in our country, politicians are getting smarter by getting lawyers instead of conscience to be their guides. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had filed a suit before the Federal High Court in Abuja, challenging the validity of the Tinubu-Shetima ticket for the 2023 presidential election. The opposition party had claimed that Shetima's nomination was a breach of the provisions of sections 29(1), 33, 35, and 84(1) of the Electoral Act 2022. After the Federal High Court threw out the suit, the PDP headed for the appeal court, which also dismissed the matter. The Apex Court has thrown out the case for lacking in merit, and a sum of 2 million naira awarded against the PDP as damages. Now, the lead judgment read by Justice Adamu Jauro agreed with the lower and appellate court that the PDP was a meddlesome interloper and a busybody. Emeka.
Well, I think the PDP, having filed a petition at the tribunal, at the presidential election petition tribunal, I don't know what they sought to achieve by that suit, because it was so clear that there are two legs in terms of qualification, in arguing on non-qualification. There is a pre-election, there's a pre-election and there's a post-election. The pre-election, according to the Electoral Act, very clear that it can be challenged within 14 days of primaries by fellow contestants. Then after the election, there's a post-election, which can be challenged by other parties. So delving into this matter from the pre-election angle, I don't know what they sought to achieve, but the justices in their wisdom have said that there was that the lawyers actually didn't marshal the arguments according to the law. Because it was so clear. I understand that the lawyer to Atiku at the Supreme Court, he pleaded 2 new arguments which were not there at the appeal court. Okay. Now, coming out to the Supreme Court. So definitely, I think, well, it's interesting the way the suit has turned out, even though that matter is one of the issues pending before the presidential election petition tribunal, elections petition tribunal, in terms of non-qualification. This one was double nomination. Double nomination can be brought about by fellow contestants within 14 days. But as post-election is non-qualification of a candidate. So we watch the proceedings of the election tribunal on that matter.
Did I remember one justice, I think in either Britain or America, who said a famous line, let me attempt to quote him: "We are final because we are not infallible, but we are not infallible because we are final." I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
what that one was saying was that, yes, their decisions are final, but it does not make them infallible, that they can make mistakes, judges can make mistakes. And in some jurisdiction, even the Supreme Court is permitted to redress its mistakes, and all that. But in our country,
I think they've done so twice.
The only condition is if there were clerical errors in a judgment.
Yeah, in the case of Abga, for instance.
Yes, if there were clerical errors that misled the judges
into taking a decision.
In their judgment, if there are clerical errors, they can reverse themselves. But once they've taken a decision on the basis of law, they can't. They are not permitted to reverse themselves. And that's what Justice Aujie said on that day when she wept, because people like Olanipekun brought a motion before them that they should reverse themselves. She burst into tears and said, no, that senior lawyers can't be bringing this because you know the law does not permit us to reverse ourselves, at least in that manner.
Yeah.
You know? In this case, I think it's section 284 14C that is confusing. Was confusing
The PDP.
The PDP and other parties. Earlier, when Hyacinth earlier emerged in Benue, the PDP challenged its emergence, you know, citing irregularities in the way the primaries went.
Yeah.
They lost right up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ordered them to withdraw the matter. And when you are ordered to withdraw a matter, it's like the matter has been dismissed. So I see a line of authority there. So when this one happened, the lawyers, the PDP lawyers were arguing that, look, what happened is a breach of the Electoral Act. Therefore, they had the local standard to challenge the APC candidate. But the judge said section 284C, that's the 14C, Justice Jauro, said the Constitution does not extend to a party poking into the affairs of another party, no matter how pained and disgruntled it may be. That section, in terms of its interpretation, it does not extend to political parties
outside of the party involved.
Yes, you can only the nomination candidate is an internal matter of a party. You can't get outside your own party to challenge nomination in another party.
Okay.
So that's what.
Otherwise, what are your interests?
He's saying that, look, you can challenge INEC, for example. You can challenge INEC, say, look, this person, you can go, but not the party. Not, you have to be, you do not belong to APC. Therefore, you cannot challenge this matter. And you
cannot be aggrieved.
Yes, you can be aggrieved. Even on the merit of the matter, they also touch a little bit on the merit of the matter, you know. When you look back, Kashim Shettima did not know that he was going to be made vice president. Running mate. He was already the senatorial candidate for Borno Central, but he wrote a letter rejecting the senatorial seat. I mean, ticket, while hoping that, okay, since I've been nominated for vice president, I prefer this.
Give up.
As far as the court is concerned, it is the intention that matters. It is not the time that letter got to INEC.
Okay.
A letter could get late to INEC, but it is on record that he sent a letter to INEC to say, look, I do not want to contest as senator anymore. So the court was looking at his intention that indeed he did not want to run. Citing Uche Nwosu was wrong because Uche Nwosu was candidate for two parties.
Yeah, in Imo. I remember.
Candidate for APC, candidate for Action Alliance.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, the Supreme Court disqualified him for double nomination, but these cases are different. Nobody comes out to pick nomination form for vice president. You are appointed.
Yeah.
So there was no time
at the pleasure of the
presidential flag bearer. There was no time that Kashim Shettima got up to say that, look, give me that form for vice president. So he only obtained nomination form for one position.
Yeah.
And in the end, he gave up that position, and Kaka replaced him as candidate of the party. He did not enter the race contesting for two different positions.
Yeah.
So there was even no basis for this in the first place. And I think that so long as it is the internal affair of nomination, is an internal affair of a political party, you cannot get involved. So look at the extent.
Might I mention 1999, although Emeka and I broached it.
Yes. He had even won the election as governor.
That's it. And Boni Haruna had to take over his place.
Yes.
But nobody went to court.
No, they went to court. They challenged Boni Haruna right up to the end.
Oh, really?
Of course.
They challenged him right up to the apex court.
What was the prayer?
That he shouldn't take that position. You know? In this case, look at what we had some days before the judgment, that Tinubu was looking for a way to get Buhari to declare a public holiday today, Friday, so that the last opportunity to have him disqualified would be scuttled. I mean, these same people had lost at the lower courts.
And the federal high court.
Dismissed the matter of this. So for me, I wasn't surprised that this was how it ended. Some young journalists interviewed me at Max FM last night. I told them, I said, tomorrow, come and meet me. This matter will be dismissed by the Supreme Court. Quote me. It was Marvin, the GM, that brought them to me that they shouldn't. I said, this matter will be dismissed by the Supreme Court. Tomorrow evening, come and meet me, remind me of what I said. Because the law is the law. So you don't belong to their party. What's their business with who got nominated for
Emeka, and this appeared to be a last-ditch attempt to scuttle May 29.
Well,
if you ask me.
The court thought otherwise and ruled otherwise.
As the court pleases.
As their lordships please.
Yeah.
As it pleases
the lordships.
And it's still still one of the key issues.
Yeah,
before the tribunal.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
So
yes, it's there.
It's still I'm not going to hazard a guess as to what will happen at the tribunal. It's not our duty, so that they don't take me before those judges. But in my heart, I know what will happen, especially on this matter. The law is clear.
We are taught not to opinionate. So we end it here. Last take from you?
Yeah, well, let democracy thrive and let the interests of Nigeria be paramount. And I hope that politicians will work together for the good of the country.
And that attorneys will give us a break.
Yes, those who are aggrieved, their rights to approach the court should be respected. They should not be demonized for approaching the courts, like you see some people doing. And then when the courts rule, well,
so be it.
So be it.
Well, it's a good thing that the court doesn't stop you from approaching it. But I still think that some lawyers are behaving in an irresponsible manner, wasting the time of the court, filing silly, frivolous cases before the courts, and they need to be punished.
And thankfully,
they need to be punished.
The courts don't suffer fools gladly.
No. I've seen even former CJ, and I saw what he did to a judge in a case involving Ondo State. You know, when they were desperate to make sure that Jegede was not a candidate in the election, they kept kicking the can down the road, until the CJN took over the matter by himself and punished the lawyers right in open court.
All right,
it has to continue.
The backroom boys say our time is up, so we must obey them. Thank you, Emeka, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jide, too, for your time. That's it on our show. If you missed any part of it, join us at 11 later tonight for a late edition. And of course, Don't forget, on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to about 3:30. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.